I was waiting for this for so long. And I was finally able to do it. I was able to rescape my main aquarium and turn it into a perfect tank for cichlids. I planned everything in details to make those fish comfortable, cover all their needs, but also made a big challenge for myself. Make it beautiful, which is not always the case for cichlid tanks. So here we are in my biggest build video yet, and it turned out better than I could ever imagine. Before I start, quick recap on what happened. So the old tank was running already for years, and recently I neglected it a bit. I mean, it was healthy and it was running just fine, but it wasn't pretty and became just too chaotic. But at this point I was already planning this full rescape and just waited for a good time to do it. I started from removing most of the plants and then was able to remove those big wood pieces. I left the fish inside at this point because chasing them, well, it could easily harm them, and there was just no way I could do it with all those things inside. But don't worry, it's not hurting them in any way. In the meantime, I was able to sort few species that I was planning to move in my other tanks. Here you can see after just 10-15 minutes how it all changed and how much easier it will be for me to catch those fish without any obstacles inside. So I caught what I could and then drained the tank to finish the job. Cleaning it was not easy, but after a few hours of work, there I was. Empty, beautiful and clean tank. And now the real fun begins. Because it's quite a big tank for potentially big fish, I will be using big rocks. I went for those wonderful Seiryu stones. They are really beautiful and full of details, and should be a great material for building big hiding places for my fish. But because of their rough shape and the weight, I need to prepare my tank first. So in places that I'm planning to put those rocks, I will place those foam sheets. They will protect the glass from cracking and my apartment from potential flooding. I don't have to be very precise right now, you will see later why. And now you see why it's so important. That one stone alone weighs around 5 to 6 kilograms. So I really need to be careful here. I continue with other stones and build this big cave that could be used by the fish. It's big, very useful to fish, and really beautiful. I know it looks too big, but it's because cichlids have to be able to fit there comfortably once they grow in their full size. Okay, so let's continue. I have big rocks, so I need to use big wood as well. Yeah, look at this one. It took me a while to find the perfect placement, but eventually I decided on this. It kind of continues the entire hardscape and adds additional very big cave for the fish to explore. I secured it in place with additional Seiryu stones to make everything more stable but also consistent. It's not done yet, but the base is ready, so I need to secure it even further. Even though it seems stable, I'm gluing it with cotton pads and cyanoacrylate glue. Additionally, I'm filling bigger gaps with pebbles. They are not visible from the front and will help to attach plants and stabilize the rocks even more. Besides, we don't want any fish poop to accumulate in those small cracks. And now, using a razor, I was able to get rid of all the excess foam. You see, it all looks much better now, but at the same time, it's very safe. And this is where I stand right now. So the main frame of the hardscape is ready, but I need to work more on the detailing, so let's do that now. For example, this big wood piece. It looks kind of out of place. It doesn't really fit into the rest. But look at that. I can add this smaller piece right here. And look how consistent it looks now. It fits there like a puzzle, and it already looks much better. The coloring is little off, but it will look exactly the same once the tank will be filled with water. And now to the left side. Here I play a bit with few pieces and create this arch. Now you can kind of see how this big root grows around the rocks. More hiding places for the fish and way more realistic view for us. Look at that, it looks fantastic. And one quick look from the distance. Yeah, perfect. And now it's finally time to put some sand inside. This is what I'm going for. Small river sand. Nothing fancy, but just regular sand that you can buy pretty much everywhere. I will probably use entire bucket, even though I'm not really planning to make a very thick layer. This sand will not only make this tank look much better, but it will also hide those foam pads. This is why I'm doing this right now and not at the very beginning. Also, I'm not using any active soils or root tabs. I will explain why in a second. And this is how this tank looks like with sand already in. I think it looks just great and it's very functional. Lots of swim room at the front, very big hiding spots in the back, and great base for planting. So let's do that now. The nature of this tank and fish that will be living here puts some limitations on what kinds of plants I can use. So I decided that I will be only using epiphytes. I will use a lot of ferns and various types of Anubias. First of all, they are quite strong, so cichlids should not destroy them. And second, I'm not planning to plant any of them in the substrate, because there is simply no point. Fish will probably just dig them out. And this is also why I used only sand, no root tabs, no soil. I need quite a lot of plants because it's a big tank. Luckily, I propagate a lot of plants, so I had a lot of these amazing Anubias available. But I still needed to buy more, especially ferns, because I was just running low on those. Because they were potted plants, I had to prepare them first. Best way to do it is to push them out of those pots from the bottom, just like that. Don't pull them out because they can get damaged very easily. And then remove as much of this wool as possible. Rinse and repeat for all the plants. Yes, they all look great. They are so healthy and look really strong. And look at this Anubias. But enough of this talking and let's get back to work. Because they are epiphytes, in many cases I can just push them between those rocks, and that is enough. They will attach themselves with no problems because they have very strong roots and those rocks are very irregular. And in other cases, I can do a little trick. I connect the plants with a small rock using a zip tie. It will stop them from floating and make it much easier for me to place it exactly where I want. Look at this. It works the best when I want to place it on the sand, but not bury it. There you go. Okay, I barely started and it already looks fantastic. All the big Anubias types are in, so it's time to move to the smaller ones. They are perfect to be squeezed between those rocks. And they make those connections between wood and rock much more natural. Here is a great example. Look how this connection point changes once I put this plant in place. All I do is squeeze it in. And it looks great. But it does take quite some time, so I spray those plants from time to time so they don't dry out. Okay, it's time to put some Java ferns. Let's go. From the beginning, I wanted this big bridge to be shaded and totally covered with ferns. So this is exactly what I will do. It's super easy to stick those plants there because I was planning for it. There are quite few cracks in the wood that act like great anchoring points. But I don't stop there and place more ferns all over the tank. And to finish this first phase, I'm adding few detailing stones here and there. Okay, I think I'm going in the right direction and little more rocks will be good. But for now, I want to fill it up and see exactly where I stand, because I know it will look a little bit different with water. So let's do it. Oh my, it's just amazing to me. I know that it might not be a dream tank for some of you, but for me it's almost perfect at this stage. Remember that I will be keeping bigger cichlids here, so I had to consider their size, aggression, habits and so on. But still, I think that it looks stunning for a tank of that type. And by the way, that rock right here, it will disappear. I was just making sure that the wood piece will not float, that's it. Okay, so now we are 3 days later and I want to make a little changes. I will include more detailing rocks because I think that the bottom of this tank is a little bit too simplistic. I will use the same type but much smaller pieces. And in addition I will add 1 or 2 plants. I mean, this place right here is just begging for it. Yeah, perfect. And now few rocks. And you can see now how it changes the look of the tank. I think that the contrast between the hardscape and substrate was just a little too big. But now it's much better. Simple, functional, beautiful. And now we are 5 weeks later. And this tank works and looks just fantastic. I honestly think that this one is one of my best. Plants are already growing and there are new leaves everywhere. I don't have any problems with the fish, no algae, no cleaning problems. I know that lots of people will think that cichlid tanks with plants will not work, but I did this in the past and it really can. You just need to do it in the right way with the right fish. And regarding fish, I will not talk about them today because I haven't really decided which ones will stay with me. They are all super young and I got them as a package from one of the breeders I know. And there's even Oscar fish in there. So yeah, that's not going to work in the tank of that size. So considering the size, I will probably go with Severums, and that was the plan for this tank from the beginning, but I will have to see how the aggression looks like. I have a great connection to the person that will take remaining fish. In the end, I will probably end up with maybe 4-5 fish and maximum 2 species. Anyway, let me know what you think of it. Like the video if you liked it, and feel free to bring your suggestions about the species that you would keep here. But for now, thank you very much for watching, and see you in the next one.